This isn't a vacation. This isn't a healing retreat. This isn't some quiet private family visit dressed up as reconciliation. This is Prince Harry running from Montecito, running from California, running from a story that just detonated in public, one so radioactive that even Hollywood money, celebrity lawyers, and Silicon Valley PR machines can't contain it anymore. Because the moment Piers Morgan released those yacht photos, everything changed. Not whispers, not gossip blogs, not anonymous blind items, photos. And suddenly the man who once declared he didn't need royal protection is now scrambling back toward the very institution he spent years tearing apart. And that alone tells you how serious this is, because Harry doesn't panic unless the threat is real.
For a couple who've repeatedly sued newspapers for intrusion and inaccuracy, they've just put a lot of whoppers into their trailers. Good evening from London. Welcome to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Today, Harry and Meghan torched what little was left of their relationship with the royal family. And she went to 5 Hertford Street, a club in Mayfair in central London, where Harry was there with a group, I think, and the next...
Right now, Prince Harry is packing his bags and fleeing Montecito, not for a vacation, not to visit family. This is an escape. And the reason? Piers Morgan just dropped photos connecting Meghan Markle to circles that destroyed Prince Andrew. We're talking about the world where Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell operated. And here's the wildest part. The man who said he didn't need royal protection is now racing back to the family he rejected. What's he so afraid of? And that's the question burning through every palace hallway and Hollywood boardroom right now. What is Harry afraid of? Because here's what people forget. Piers Morgan didn't just wake up one day and decide to attack Meghan Markle. These images, he's had them for years. He waited. He watched the culture shift. He watched public sentiment turn. He watched Meghan's allies fall silent one by one. And when he first dared to challenge her narrative, the backlash was nuclear. 57,000 complaints slammed into it. Campaigns launched to destroy him. And behind the scenes, Meghan didn't just complain. She allegedly personally contacted executives, applying pressure directly where it hurt most. And yet, he survived. Uncancelled, unbroken, and now unleashed. Because what those photos show isn't random partying or harmless celebrity networking. They show pattern, repetition, consistency, yachts, Soho House events, international luxury travel, Istanbul, elite accommodations, endless movement through spaces where cameras don't follow, and accountability doesn't exist. And here's where the math stops making sense. At the time, Meghan Markle wasn't royalty. She wasn't a global brand. She wasn't sitting on Netflix deals or Spotify contracts. She was a supporting actress on a cable TV show. Comfortable? Sure. Jet-setting across continents on yachts surrounded by extreme wealth? No.
Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who has accused the prince of sexually assaulting her when she was 17.
That lifestyle doesn't match that income. And when income doesn't match access, people notice. They don't accuse, they don't confront, they remember. Insiders even had a term for the role she played: social filler. Not a star, not the headline, but essential. The person flown in to warm the room, to smooth energy, to create atmosphere, to make powerful men comfortable enough to relax, to blur lines, to let their guard down. Not photographed, not documented, just present. And memory is patient. Years pass. The actress becomes a duchess. The yacht guest becomes a royal bride. The questions stay quiet. Until now. Here's where it gets genuinely weird. At the time all this was happening, Meghan was a supporting actress on Suits. Decent money? Sure. But international jet-setting, yachts, luxury stays, constant movement through elite circles? That's not cable TV money. Not even close. And this is where the danger escalates. Because Ghislaine Maxwell is no longer protected. She's no longer powerful. She's no longer bargaining. She's locked behind concrete and razor wire, and that's when people start talking. According to multiple sources, names are being named. Real names, real places, real years, and the same social hubs keep appearing again and again. One of them? Soho House. Publicly, it markets itself as a chic creative club. Privately, it functioned as a corridor, a bridge between Hollywood, finance, old power, and untouchable wealth. Carefully curated spaces where the right faces were needed to make the environment feel alive when the real power players arrived. And Meghan was flown internationally to be part of that atmosphere, not as the celebrity, as the lubricant. And this is where her path and Maxwell's path intersected. Same years, same spaces, same social ecosystems. When Prince Andrew imploded, something chilling almost happened. Meghan's name briefly floated into the conversation. It didn't stick.
Just invite anybody. To be a founding member, you really had to be somebody.
But it surfaced. And that matters, because names don't surface by accident. Now combine that with what's happening in Montecito. The neighbors? Frozen them out. The invitations? Gone. The whispers at CAFs? Loud. Montecito doesn't lack celebrities, it lacks tolerance for chaos. Oprah lives there, Ellen lives there, Gwyneth lives there, and none of them bring a storm everywhere they go. Harry and Meghan did. Netflix is furious. Over a $100 million spent, and the return was complaints, lectures, and audience fatigue. Spotify already collapsed in spectacular fashion. RQL is bleeding staff. 11 professionals walked away, including the executive director who uprooted his family to build their empire and realized it couldn't be saved. And beneath it all, money pressure, security costs, a $14 million mansion, a lifestyle that demands constant cash flow with no pipeline left. And while yacht photos circulate and Maxwell speaks from prison, Meghan is silent. No lawsuits, no statements, no celebrity friends rushing to defend her. That silence is indignity. It's fear, because every denial would open another door, one she can't afford to walk through. And Harry? Harry is fleeing. He saw what happened to Prince Andrew when people started speaking. Not rumors, not tabloids, first-hand accounts, names, dates, places. And once that happens, even the palace can't spin it. Harry knows that, which is why he's abandoning the life he built and sprinting back to the family he accused, exposed, and monetized. This isn't reconciliation. This is survival. Harry knows exactly how this movie ends because he watched it destroy his uncle in real time. Prince Andrew didn't fall because of tabloids. He didn't fall because of rumor columns or speculative headlines. He fell when people started speaking, when names were attached to places, when dates matched memories, when stories stopped being abstract and became specific. And Harry saw how fast the palace's power evaporated the moment that happened. One day Andrew was protected. The next day, he was toxic. Titles stripped. Patronage is gone. Doors slammed shut overnight. And that's the lesson burning in Harry's chest right now, because he understands something the public is only just catching up to. Once real stories surface, no institution can save you. And now the parallels are impossible to ignore. Yacht photos placing Meghan in specific elite circles during specific years. Maxwell speaking from prison and naming names from those same environments. Old connections resurfacing that were never meant to be revisited. And at the same time, their life in California is imploding from every angle. Netflix isn't just disappointed, they're furious. Over $100 million was gambled on a brand that collapsed into self-pity and audience fatigue. Subsequent projects stalled. Executives stopped answering calls. Development quietly died. Spotify already blew up in public. The word grifters didn't come from a troll, it came from someone inside the deal who'd had enough. Then came the RQL exodus. 11 people didn't just quit, they escaped. These weren't interns. These were senior professionals who believed in the Sussex vision, moved countries, uprooted families, and walked away once they realized there was nothing left to salvage. In Hollywood, people don't abandon prestige projects this fast unless something is deeply, fundamentally wrong. And underneath it all sits a brutal truth: the money stopped coming. Security costs running into the millions, a $14 million Montecito mansion, a lifestyle built for royalty without royal infrastructure. And as the walls close in, Meghan's response is silence. No lawsuits, no denials, no coordinated celebrity defenses. This is not how she's ever operated. When stories emerged in the past, she fought aggressively. She briefed, she pushed, she pressured, she sued, she called executives personally. Now, nothing. And silence like this doesn't read as confidence, it reads as containment. Because anything she says now opens doors she can't close. Then there are the questions people quietly avoided for years, now roaring back with fresh urgency. The pregnancies. The inconsistencies weren't subtle, they were visual. 1 week the bump was prominent, cradled, carefully protected. Days later it appeared smaller, differently positioned, almost flattened. Movement patterns didn't line up. One appearance showed exaggerated fragility, slow steps, constant bump holding. The next showed agility, bending, twisting, climbing stairs and heels without hesitation. Then came the scheduling contradictions. Documents allegedly logged hospital appointments on days when Meghan was photographed attending events across London. Not close calls, not tight margins, entire days that simply didn't match. You cannot be in two places at once. Biology doesn't bend for branding. And then there was the home birth narrative, the carefully seated image of bouncing on a ball, water birth ideals, rejection of palace rigidity, only for the reality to shift suddenly to a private London hospital, without explanation, without acknowledgement, without a single clarifying word. The pre-written birth announcements added chaos instead of clarity. Palace timing fell apart. Messaging collapsed. And through it all, the same pattern emerged again and again. Misdirection, silence, move on. And Harry knows what happens when those patterns finally crack. He understands that royal protection only works before things explode, before prison testimony, before photographs circulate everywhere, before millions start connecting dots publicly. That's why he's running now. Not defending, not denying, not standing beside his wife publicly, running. Because if the stories are false, this would be the moment to fight them with everything he has. Threaten lawsuits, demand retractions, call out lies loudly. Instead, he's boarding planes to London toward palace lawyers, institutional fixers, and centuries-old machinery designed to shrink scandals before they metastasize. But here's the part that haunts him. Those tools only work before the avalanche. And what terrifies Harry is that this avalanche may already be rolling, because there's a question he can't escape, and neither can the palace. What did Harry know? And when? If he knew about the yachts, the social scenes, the proximity to Epstein-linked environments, and still built his post-royal identity on moral superiority, then he helped construct a lie. But if he didn't know, then he gave up everything, his country, his family, his protection, for a woman who wasn't who she claimed to be. Either option is catastrophic. And the palace understands something else too. Harry is bloodline, Charles's son, William's brother, Diana's child. Protecting him protects the institution. Meghan is not bloodline, she's the outsider. The disruption, the variable the monarchy never fully controlled, and history shows exactly how institutions handle outsiders when survival is on the line. They sacrifice them. They always have. And according to sources, that's exactly what's happening now. Harry seeks shelter. Meghan searches for exits. Texas, Europe, anywhere that feels less hostile than Montecito. But geography doesn't erase images. Distance doesn't silence prison testimony. And moving doesn't undo the fact that millions are now asking questions that can't be unasked. Because look at what's already out there. Yacht photos placing Meghan in elite circles tied to Epstein's world. Maxwell speaking from prison. Financial collapse in Montecito. Staff abandonment. Industry rejection. Pregnancy inconsistencies never explained. Birth announcement chaos never clarified. And above all, silence. Deafening, strategic, terrified silence. Harry's flight says more than any statement ever could. When powerful people stop talking and start fleeing, they're not misunderstood, they're scared. And fear doesn't come from gossip. It comes from knowing something real is coming that you can't stop. So where does this leave them? The California dream is over. The sanctuary burned down. The brand collapsed. The allies vanished. What remains are images, questions, timelines, and people who are finally speaking. And once that happens, once names are attached to places and years, the story doesn't fade. It hardens, and no amount of running makes it disappear. Because some doors, once opened, never close again.